Alright everyone, today we got something a little different. I'm gonna just check out this video, The Complete History of Kamen Rider by Acrimony Toku. Now the reason is because, as a Power Rangers fan, you tend to fall down pipelines. You watch Power Rangers as a kid, you get older, you learn about Super Sentai, you watch Super Sentai. Then you learn about this other show that's been going on, I believe, longer than Super Sentai, with the same vibe, which is Kamen Rider. I've gotten a lot of comments from fans saying, you gotta check out Kamen Rider, you gotta check out Kamen Rider. And as you can see here, it has a very big and long history, so it's just something I've never fallen into, but I've always wanted to check out. And I figured kind of checking out this video and giving me a nice history of it, I guess, a little overview of most of Kamen Rider would be a good start. Now, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and like watch the whole thing and like be like, you know, typical like reactor eating my bowl of cereal, being like, So we're gonna skip around. I'm gonna watch a good bit, and of course, I hope that you guys check out the video yourself. Again, this is The Complete History of Kamen Rider by Acrimony Toku. So with that, let us begin, and let my knowledge of Kamen Rider finally be something.
Kamen Rider is so legendary.
Nice. This right here, this is what I think of when I think of Kamen Rider. You know how like Mighty Morphin fans, when they think of Power Rangers, they just think of Mighty Morphin. Whenever I think or hear the word Kamen Rider, I am literally, this is the image I have in my mind. The old green armor bug suit. I don't know what any of these other things are.
From 1971's original Kamen Rider series to 2024's Kamen Rider Gav, the Kamen Rider franchise has built an incredible legacy and a rich history within Japan and throughout the entire world. This video will cover every single Kamen Rider series.
Now the thing about Kamen Rider, again, I've seeing these new suits is really blowing my mind. I did not even know they ever looked like that. But I'm sure he'll go over this. But are they bugs? Are they meant to be beetles or something? Is that kind of the Kamen Rider thing? Does Kamen mean beetle or something? I don't know.
Throughout history, as well as other major milestones in the franchise like movies, games, and even American adaptations. So if you want a video that you can show to people who don't know what Kamen Rider is, or if you just want to take an entertaining walk with me through the complete history of this legendary franchise, this is the video for you.
That's me! What is this guy? I don't even understand anything anymore.
To tell the story of the Kamen Rider franchise, we first have to go all the way back to 1938, where a young child named Shotaro Onodera was born in the town of Tome in Miyagi Prefecture, Japan. Shotaro would take on the name Ishinomori, and he showed a lot of creativity and a talent for creating characters from a young age.
I love old, like, just Japanese creatives. Like, I remember seeing Miyazaki, like, from all the Ghibli movies, and they all just look like the coolest dudes. This guy, there's definitely a picture or a video of him with a cigarette in his mouth somewhere. Like, you know,
his abilities in various
your creation is going to be legendary when the guy making it looks like this.
Competitions throughout his childhood before he would eventually create a character named Skullman that would of course go on to become Kamen Rider.
Nice.
Kamen Rider is perhaps best known for featuring young adult men that become cyborgs and transform into armored superheroes with a theme of grasshoppers and other insects.
There it is.
Although this has loosened up a lot over time, and in the modern age, not all series feature this bug theme. In fact, most don't. There are three.
I was gonna say, the bug thing definitely seems like the thing you would maybe move past after a while, because it does look, it's iconic, but it does look a little silly. So I would imagine just moving on to futuristic superhero suits would be the move.
Of Kamen Rider, and these coincide with the eras of Japan's history. These eras are known as the Showa era, spanning from 1926 to 1989, the Heisei era, spanning from 1989 to 2019, and the Reiwa era, which spans from 2019 through the present day.
Learn something new every day. I heard those eras, but I never knew what they meant.
In 1971, Kamen
was that a
Rider
giant
was born
fox?
with the iconic original series, starring two main protagonists,
1971,
Takeshi and Hayato, as they would take on Shocker and later Gel Shocker. Unlike modern-day seasons of Kamen Rider, this series ran for a whopping 98 episodes. We would start with the story of Takeshi Hongo, a college student who was turned into a cyborg by Shocker, but they were unable to fully convert his mind, and he would rebel and battle against them.
Big, I mean, I don't know the history of much. It sounds like Wolverine, right? Government experiment, breaks free, gets revenge. It could be a tale as old as time, but I also love the guy, how he looks. He is the most 70s Japanese man ever.
While filming a motorcycle stunt, Takeshi Hongo's actor Hiroshi Fujioka was injured and had to be replaced. They would replace him by Hayato Ichimonji, played by Takeshi Sasaki, and eventually they would join forces together, becoming the iconic Double Riders. This series set iconic tropes, such as Kamen Rider being a cyborg fighting an evil organization, and of course his preferred method of transportation, his rider machine Cyclone.
Nice.
To say that this series...
Yeah, the only things I know about Kamen Rider is that they ride motorcycles, and they do, like, a flying kick. The rider kick. That's all I know about it.
...was iconic and legendary would be a huge understatement. Kamen Rider V3!
Nice.
In 1973, Toei would follow up the success of Kamen Rider with Kamen Rider V3, a direct sequel, featuring returning characters from Kamen Rider.
It seems like something Power Rangers would do, where it's just like, the first season gets a lot of episodes, and they're like, let's just try and keep it together. I imagine the Kamen Rider history eventually becomes like Super Sentai as well, where it's all just individual stories and characters, not really trying to continue things. But I've never seen this one before.
In this series, Shiro Kazami wants to be a cyborg in order to avenge his family that he saw being killed by Destron. He becomes mortally wounded while risking his life to protect the Double Riders. So in return, they turn him into Kamen Rider V3. Kamen Rider V3. This series...
It's silly, but I love it. But also, the story is pretty intense. Like, I don't know much about early Sentai either, but the idea that, like, yes, this is what we're looking at, but it's like, this man saw his family murdered in front of his very eyes. Like, it's...
Series features Joji Yuki,
I like it,
also known as Rider Man, played by Takahisa Yamaguchi, who has one of the most unique rider suit designs in the franchise, being that his mouth is exposed through his helmet. Our
it is pretty cool.
Shiro is played by Hiroshi Miyauchi, who also played Owl Ranger in Go Ranger, Big One in Jaka, and Chief Counselor Naoyuki Miura in O Ranger, plus multiple seasons of the Metal Hero franchise. This guy is a Toku legend.
The Jason David Frank of Japan.
As far as V3 suit design, it was a natural evolution from the looks of the Double Riders, featuring more red and a slightly more detailed design.
Okay.
Kamen Rider X!
We're just hopping around. I like it.
1974 was the year of Kamen Rider X, where our main protagonist Keisuke and his father were betrayed by Keisuke's fiancée in order to assist God, the government of darkness, leading Keisuke...
I'm sorry. The government of darkness is easily the coolest name I think I've ever heard in anything ever.
...and his father to become mortally wounded. Keisuke's father, who was a robotics expert, turned Keisuke into a Kaizorg, also known as X-Rider or Kamen Rider X, in order to save his life.
Alright, so I guess, based off of just what I'm seeing so far, because I never really knew the difference between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai in terms of, like, I always just assumed one is a team and one is a solo act right here. But I guess, Sentai, from the sounds of it, sounds more people turning or choosing to be superheroes. This seems more like you are being infused to turn into a robot, like you are a cyborg now because of a dark tragedy in your life.
In this series, Keisuke starts as an easygoing character with the optimism of somebody that's about to get married. But all that is ripped away from him, and he turns into a machine of pure precision and focus.
Nice.
His helmet is meant to look like a skull, and his helmet definitely has a look that calls back to the Skullman manga created by Shotaro Ishinomori. Due to competition from anime
an
on
Akira
TV at the
slide
time,
almost.
the
That's
show
pretty
had
cool.
lower ratings than the studio had hoped, and it only lasted 35 episodes. Also in 1974, we had Kamen Rider Amazon. This is the shortest Kamen Rider series ever, and one of the most violent. This show follows Daisuke, who was lost in the Amazon as a child. He was raised by wild animals before eventually being adopted by an Incan tribe. Nearly his...
What a sentence. What a sentence. I do appreciate the change, I guess, going from, like, you know, guys and with their families being murdered and whatnot to a jungle boy. Is this the main
entire
villain also? Or is that the writer?
village would be killed by Golgos, but not before an elder in the tribe performs a ritual to give him the power to become Kamen Rider Amazon.
It's the writer suit, okay? It's different. I'll give it that. It's very
This was an
different.
incredibly iconic and unique new look for Kamen Rider, with a helmet design and a suit design that had never been seen before. This was the first rider to not use a belt to henshin, and the first Kamen Rider series since the original to not have any previous riders returning.
Oh my
This is
God.
also the very last main Kamen Rider series that did not have a Sentai season air alongside it.
Huh. When did... Let me Google this really quick. Go Ranger. When was that released? 1975. Okay, so I guess Kamen Rider has been preceding Sentai for a couple of years now. All right. Didn't know that. Thought they were both released at the same
1975 saw the
time.
release of Kamen Rider Stronger, which was originally planned to be the final Kamen Rider series. This show follows Shigeru Joe, whose best friend and mentor Goro is killed by Black Satan. Because
what?
of this, Shigeru
All right, I was already taken aback by, once again, his friend dead and killed by
Joe, whose best friend and mentor Goro is killed by Black Satan.
Black
Because of
Satan,
this,
okay.
Shigeru lets himself get turned into a cyborg or Kamen Rider Stronger.
That is unhinged and insane. Ooh, I like this look. This one is really cool, I think, because of the little, you know, extra accessory on the head.
He meets Yuriko, also known as Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle or
I'm sorry, one more time, just so I remember.
He meets Yuriko, also known as Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle or
Electric Humanoid Electric Wave Tackle.
Denpa Ningen Tekud, who is also a cyborg created by Black.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I've actually seen that design with the Kamen Rider anime right here. This, like, girl with the ladybug outfit, right? So, obviously, this must be an iconic season. Also, the name is... What is that thing from One Punch Man? This guy. Speeda Sound Sonic. Another silly name that I can't help but immediately think of. But also, still on the One Punch Man topic, we have Moomen Rider, who is an obvious Kamen Rider tribute. So, this show has motion early on.
And together they would battle Black Satan and later the Delzer Army.
レディに向かって貴様はないでしょ
Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle isn't technically a Kamen Rider, but she definitely has the look of one,
Electric Wave
especially the
Humanoid
ones
Tackle.
from the early Showa era, and she is bug-themed, with Tackle's motif being a ladybug, and she was even created by Black Satan in the same way as Stronger.
I'll be honest. If I watched this when I was a kid, first crush. Like, we had the Pink Ranger, we had Kimberly, but if I was in Japan,
私は電波人間
easily first crush.
Unfortunately, the actress Kyoko Okada, who played Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle, passed away at
What?
the age of 27 due to an asthma attack. Shigeru
man.
was played by Shigeru Araki,
That's depressing.
who also passed away in 2012 of pneumonia.
仮面ライダーストロンガー
Well, rest in peace to both of them, man.
This was meant to be called Kamen Rider Spark, but that was trademarked in Japan. However, this would have been a really fitting name due to the show's focus on electricity. And this was the very first Kamen Rider series to have a temporary power-up for the main rider. That being Stronger's charge-up form.
Nice.
仮面ライダー
Oh god, these monsters look absolutely horrifying
4
in
whole
the
years
70s.
later, the Kamen Rider fandom would be introduced to Sky Rider. This was meant to be a reboot of the original Kamen Rider series after
they're already rebooting it. But then, to be fair, it is almost 10 years later, so I guess I can't really judge it.
The franchise had been off of TV for 4 whole years, hence
Oh,
the
wow.
name and similar suit design to Kamen Rider Ichigo. This show would revisit classic themes and tropes from the first 2 Kamen Rider series.
I do like it. I do like the suit.
In Sky Rider, we follow Hiroshi Tsukuba as he battles Neo Shocker. Eventually,
I do really like the monster suits because they're fairly simplistic, but they're also more mobile. Like later on in Sentai and Power Rangers, and probably even Kamen Rider, the monster suits become more detailed, but they become more bulky, so they have like limited movement, you know. But here, this
the
does look
idea
like
of
a
this being
mutated freak
reboot was phased
in a
out
complimentary
over time,
way.
and classic Kamen Riders would appear, tying this into the continuity of the rest of the era.
That goes really hard.
Over time, and classic Kamen Riders would
Where-
appear, tying this into
Where's
the
it at?
continuity.
Right there. Just this side profile, the wind hitting the scarf, and this does look pretty hardcore for 1979, especially when it's supposed to just be an update from only 9 years
Of
ago.
the rest of the era. With a name like
Goes
Sky
hard.
Rider, this series was very focused on flight. However, this was also phased out over time, and as far as I can tell, this was because Shotaro Ishinomori was unhappy with the flight special effects, i.e. he didn't like how it looked when Sky Rider was flying around.
Yeah, it do look a little silly. Like it's, you know, again, especially for the seriousness that these stories do hold, it is a little silly to be like looking like Superman flying around on a green
In
screen.
1980, we were introduced to Kamen Rider Super 1. Our protagonist, Kazuya, volunteers for cybernetic surgery in the International Space Development Program in the United States, so he can be an astronaut who doesn't need a
USA.
spacesuit to survive in space. Unfortunately, before he can make it to space, the base where his operation is being performed is attacked by the Dogma Kingdom, with everyone else being killed.
Oh my god. It's always, everyone is dead, I must avenge them. It's intense. I
He goes
really
to
wasn't
Japan
expecting that.
And is trained by a martial arts expert named Master Ginkai, who teaches him how to henshin into Super 1. This show featured multiple types of interchangeable hands with different strengths and elements, and this functioned as a prototype version of the form switching that we see today.
I don't know what that is. So I guess, oh, okay, other suits. Makes sense. More toys.
In 1984, Toei released a one-off special titled Birth of the 10th Kamen Riders All Together, and this was the introduction of Ryo Murasame, also known as Kamen Rider Z-Cross.
The history of this show is like, it's insane. Like, here's a reboot, here's a special, here's a one-off. Like, it is very, there's so much to keep track of. It's insane. It is like, you know, I don't know too much about comic books, but it's like, oh, here's Ultimate X-Men, and then here's, you know, Apocalypse X-Men, and now here's this and that. Like, I am honestly surprised and impressed by just how much they got going
Ryo
on.
was a pilot who was attacked by a UFO while with his sister before being kidnapped
Does
by
his
the
sister
Vaughn
die?
Empire, who turned him into Z-Cross. With his memory erased, he does their bidding before quickly regaining his memory and escaping. He learns of the other riders that came before him, and they would
Nice.
team up together.
Oh!
Although this is only a special, Z-Cross is considered the 10th rider and often represented as a season retroactively. This special marks the final unhinged appearance of Shiro Kazumi, also known as Kamen Rider V3,
Nice.
Joji Yuki, also known as Riderman, and Kazuya Oki, also known as Kamen Rider Super 1.
That's awesome. You can't help but love a good crossover and reunion of all the heroes
1987
before
saw the
it.
release of one of the most popular and loved
Oh, okay.
series in the history of the Kamen Rider franchise,
Kamen
in
Rider
Kamen
Black. Is this, if I'm not mistaken, I could totally be wrong, is this not a masked rider that Saban would take?
This is a legendary entry, marked by a dark tone, a gritty look, and a very emotional story. This show is a drama in the fullest
Okay.
sense.
It is like, what, this was 1987, so almost, you know, 15-something years later. Yeah, it's getting serious, which is pretty cool.
Black introduces us to Kotaro Minami, who is portrayed masterfully by Tetsuo Kurata, and he delivers a heavy and
Goes
impactful
hard. This
performance
shot goes
where
hard.
You're gonna feel the agony that he feels during his fight against Shadow Moon and the Gorgon.
どうしたブラックさん生き返って強くなったのはその程度か
It was around this time that the look of Kamen Riders in general started to change a little bit. The helmets became a little less bulky, and the armor started looking a little more like armor instead of cloth. The aesthetics here and the tone would remain influential to future iterations of Kamen Rider for years to come.
So from what I'm gathering, guy who's only ever seen Power Rangers, this is the Power Rangers RPM of Kamen Rider. This is the new tone shift. This is the new serious tone. Now, the only difference is that with Kamen Rider, it sounds like they stuck with this for a while, actually, instead of a one-off. I like it.
In 1988,
so okay, hold on.
After the success of Kamen Rider
this
Black,
looks familiar.
The executives at Toei agreed to go ahead with a sequel entitled Kamen Rider Black RX. In this series,
is that Master Rider? This one is Master Rider. 100%. This one is Master Rider.
He refuses an offer to join the Crisis Empire. Because of this, he's thrown into the sun, where he would become Kamen Rider Black RX.
He's thrown into the sun.
This show is notable for featuring Rideron, which was a red car instead of Kamen Rider's signature motorcycle. And this was also the first show to introduce form switching into the franchise officially.
Goes hard. That is horrifying. All right, so let's jump a little bit ahead into that was the Showa era. Let's check out the Reiwa era, 2000. I think that's a good new point to check out now. Is we checked out the 70s. I want to see how the show kind of evolves from here. Again, please check out the video for yourself for the whole thing. This chapter is very long, so I'm not gonna watch all of it again. But I want to see. Already, this shot very different.
In 2000, Kamen Rider would return inside of the Heisei era with a new hero, a new legend in Kamen Rider Kuga. This was the first series in 11 years.
Oh my God! Okay, so. I guess there was a hiatus that I totally just skipped on.
A heart failure on noteworthy release in the history of Kamen Rider. 1998 was also a year that would go down as a sad one for Kamen Rider fans, as we lost Shotaro Ishinomori due to her friend.
Sad. Okay, let's
would return inside of the
get back here. Had a
long
break.
A new legend in Kamen Rider Kuga. This was the first series in 11 years.
That's insane. Look, this looks crazy.
In Kuga is Yusuke Godai, who finds an ancient artifact that allows him to become Kuga in order to battle the Gyorongi, or unidentified life forms. This was the final Kamen Rider season to feature only a single rider, as every season following Kuga would feature multiple riders.
Oh. I was gonna say the thing about Kamen Rider that I was always interested in, that it was always just one hero fighting villains. So I guess. You know, the merrier. More is always better. I don't know.
Kuga would also feature multiple forms that were different color swaps and feature different weapons.
Look at those monsters. Look at this guy, though. Oh my! I haven't even commented on this suit yet.
Alongside a Super Sentai season on the same network, leading to Superhero Time.
I love. They definitely seem to get more everything looks like a battleizer. Basically, every base suit just starts to look fancier and fancier.
In 2001, Toei released a direct sequel to Kuga titled Kamen Rider Agito, and this show features 4 very different riders.
Goes hard.
Shoichi becomes Agito, a magic-based rider whose name is Latin for move or keep moving. Makoto becomes G3, a mechanical and technology-based rider who's based off of Kuga and actually puts his suit on. Ryo is Gills, a biological rider whose armor actually grows from his body.
Oh my God.
And Kaoru is the incredibly cool Another Agito. This was the final Kamen Rider season to feature the Ishinomori style belt design. Also in 2001.
Yeah, this is whenever I, there you go. Whenever I see content creators in Japan or just anything like that, they're usually wearing the belt. Kamen Rider is I never really knew how much more popular Kamen Rider was than Super Sentai, but that belt is so iconic. People are always putting cards into it or hitting the button and doing the pose, and it's
manga museum.
I don't know. I mean, it's so impressive.
Opened in Ishinomaki, Miyagi Prefecture, Japan, to showcase some of the most culturally significant manga in history and to educate people on an art form that Shotaro Ishinomori himself loved so much. Even though Shotaro was gone, his legacy was well remembered, and the franchise he created was headed in an exciting new direction.
Oh.
2002 brought Kamen Rider Yuki, a very popular season, especially amongst fans that enjoy having a lot of riders.
Is this is this Dragon Knight? I feel like this one is Dragon Knight.
Riders travel to the mirror world via reflective surfaces.
I love
and
that
these riders
suit, though.
compete in the Rider War, a winner-take-all competition where the victor will be granted a single wish.
Okay, I like that.
Yuki is known for having a very unique style, and this series has a lot of cool attributes, like being the first season to use cards, and it was also the first season where riders had...
Damn, look at these like designs. Like I think I understand the big differences between like this and Sentai. Like, you know, Sentai has a suit design, but it is just recolored multiple times, but Kamen Rider, it's like every character has its own unique suit.
Their abilities and attacks.
And again, the premise of this alone is this tournament, Mortal Kombat style tournament of death where you get a wish, which is cool. It's not always just here's the bad guy, here's the good guy, here's the bad guy team, they fight, right? Like this whole premise is unique.
This was also the first season to feature villain riders. It was around this time that the team at Toei started getting more experimental and creative with suit designs, as evidenced by the unique and elaborate helmet designs showcased within Yuki.
Yeah, this alone, like, because like back in the what era is this? The Showa era. A lot of the suits kind of look the same, a little recolored, but mostly they were similar, which makes sense. It is Kamen Rider, you have to make them look familiar. But now, yeah, 2000s, here's cards, here's CGI, here's insane suits.
2003
I love it.
was the year of Kamen Rider Phase, a show in which Smart Brain Org is trying to take over the world with Orphanox, who are the next stage of human evolution. They create 3 suits called Rider Gear, which are Phase, Delta, and Kaiza. Our main protagonist in this series is Takumi, who along with his allies would fight against Smart Brain to prevent them from replacing the world with Orphanox.
Alright, so a little less family and friend death before their eyes, kind of a little more traditional evil villains wanting to take over the world, but hey, it works, it's a good formula.
Phase brought with it a dark, quality story, with excellent acting and explosive action, and 2003 was another great year for Kamen.
2003, dude, I don't know, like, I sometimes just think of, like, Power Rangers in, like, the 2000s and just how cheap and, cheesy and corny it looked and presented itself for the most part. So seeing, like,
Kamen Rider.
These insane, like, shots, high effects, high quality effort they're putting into their shows, it is like night and day.
Of Kamen Rider Blade, a playing card themed season featuring multiple riders that represented different suits from the card deck.
Nice.
Our main protagonist is Kazuma, who becomes Kamen Rider Blade after being ordered along with Sakuya by Board to fight against creatures called undead.
So this is starting to look like the Kamen Rider that I have seen in modern day, where it is like playing cards, putting it into your belt, having insane designs, riding the motorcycles, and just being super
really
over the
cool
top.
Riders, including Garen, Chalice, Liango, and of course Blade himself. The show featured 2 intros, and the second intro looks cool, and you could tell their focus was just on making it look cool for the audience. But the first intro is genuinely hilarious to me, and it's really unique in its weirdness. Kick that napkin. Kick it. This was the first season to have 2 intros since Skyrider. In 2005, Toei released Kamen Rider Hibiki.
Ooh, look at this thing.
This show wasn't even originally designed to be a Kamen Rider series, and in pre-production, many different themes were tossed around, including ninjas and yokai, but when Bandai demanded that the Kamen Rider name be attached to the project in order to sell more toys, the original themes would be dropped, and the character would become an Oni-themed Kamen Rider. Oni,
is that demons in my eyes, in my memory? A demon-themed Kamen Rider, because that would be pretty awesome. And once again, toy sales, they rule overall. You know, it's again no different in America. Power Ranger thing, sell Mighty Morphin again.
By episode 29,
damn, that one
chief
looks
producer
cool.
Shigenori Taketera was fired, and this was unofficially attributed to low ratings and low toy sales. After the firing,
I'm curious because they had the what did they say, like however many year-long break from the show, and now ratings are bad. Was Super Sentai also in that position? I'd be curious to know. Or was like Sentai doing good at one point and better than Kamen Rider? Because now the scale has definitely flipped, where Kamen Rider is more, I guess, at least there's a show still going on at the time of recording this, when Super Sentai coming to an end.
The visible tone
so I'd be
shift
curious
on
to
the
know.
show, and it began to resemble a more traditional Kamen Rider series. Hibiki introduced a lot of unique things into the franchise, including the fact that there are no belts to Henshin, and this is the only series with an instrumental theme.
How are they gonna morph? How are you gonna sell the toys? You got no belts.
2005 would continue with Kamen Rider the First. Kamen Rider the First was a modern-day reimagining of Shotaro Ishinomori's classic original series. This
Another
movie took some
reboot
liberties in regards to story, but ultimately serves as a
reimagining
creative and well-made Kamen Rider project that shows a lot of love and respect for the original series.
But this one does look cool. Like, they are doing like there's a certain 2000 style and aesthetic that works when paying tribute to like the 70s. Like this looks like just a cool leather jacket. His helmet looks more intimidating and scary. Like this
this
works
of
really
love
well.
And respect for the original series. 2006 was an important year for Kamen Rider, as we would be introduced to the very first HD Kamen Rider series in Kamen Rider Kabuto.
Damn.
The series takes place 7 years after a meteorite hit Shibuya, and shape-shifting creatures known as worms emerged from the disaster. This show added a cast-off feature, giving a unique external layer of armor over the rider's base armor, something completely fresh and new to the franchise.
Battleizer.
This show is notable
Goes
for
hard.
having a lot of unique riders with varied story arcs. The main protagonist is named Soji, and he's very unique within the franchise due to being extremely arrogant most of the time.
Amazing good.
Kabuto is also very unique due to its food and culinary focus. And that's what I'm talking about, food theme. So yeah, it definitely the series seems to have been moving away from the more serious side of it and more towards, like, I'm not gonna say like a kid show, but like a little more fun, right? A little more way to sell toys and have some appeal, because these shows are ultimately over the top and a little silly. That's alright, that's cool. Why is he summoning a big train?
Would bring with it an absolute cultural phenomenon within Japan in
Oh.
Kamen Rider Den-O. Ryotaro is a huge wimp until he's possessed by the Taros, because they imbue their own personality unto him and
Alright.
even change his non-henshin look.
I like that.
Ryotaro travels with Hana and the Taros through time on the Den Liner to fight against evil Imagines, and they also encounter Kamen Rider Zeronos. Takeru Sato, who plays Ryotaro, claims that the reason for the show's success was the comedic timing. Because the show was so successful, it would lead to a mountain of revenue for Toei and more crossovers than any other Kamen Rider series in history.
I've seen those guys. I watched a couple of Sentai movies, and I have seen these guys. They're on, yeah, it was Gokaiger, or no, it was one of those like Super Sentai Kamen Rider War movies, and they went on a train and ran into these guys. So this is the season, I guess, that you can attribute to being popular, reviving the love and popularity, I guess.
Other Kamen Rider series in history. Following on the heels of Kamen Rider the First, 2007 would continue the anniversary celebration that the first started with the release of Kamen Rider the Next, a reimagining of Kamen Rider V3 with a much darker and more intense tone featuring horror themes. Like the Next, this movie introduced these characters to a new generation and put them in an interesting premise set in the Heisei era. Subaraya Productions actually helped with visual effects for this movie, and they are of course known for being the makers of Ultraman.
Very nice, very unique. Like they do it does seem that like every season of Kamen Rider does try to do something unique with its premise. Not that Super Sentai doesn't, but again, it's not just bad guy fight good guy fight bad guy, the end.
2008 was the year that Kamen Rider would take on a campy vampire theme with Kamen Rider Kiva. The tagline for this series was "Wake Up."
This one looks awesome.
The Chains of Destiny. This show takes place across 2 time frames simultaneously, being 1986 and 2008, allowing the audience to experience.
Like I'm a very simple kid who grew up in the 2000s, so I love anything that looks edgy. And this one being vampire with the pointiness and the bats and the cape,
story beats.
Cape looking thing goes hard.
Our soft-spoken protagonist is Wataru, an introvert who's a human and Fengair hybrid, and this is actually a huge part of the plot, where we would explore Wataru's family history and his place within the hierarchy of the Fengair species.
Why is the building okay, you know what, sure.
This
my
show
god.
Introduced some really unique elements to the franchise,
so insane.
featuring Wataru's ghostly allies called the Arms Monsters, who provide Kiva with power-ups and live in a building that turns into a dragon. This show also introduced us to Kibat, a bat that bites Wataru's hand to facilitate his henshin.
That is awesome.
Although Kiva failed to achieve the same levels of success as Dino,
this might be my, just based off of this video and getting kind of quick overviews of each series,
although Kiva,
this one might be my favorite, because I don't know, man, it's hitting all the right notes for me.
Of success as Dino, this show introduced fans to some fresh and interesting new things that had never been seen before within the Kamen Rider franchise.
This one might be my favorite. And again, I am using this video as a way of potentially doing some maybe Kamen Rider in the future and picking my favorites. Because, you know, I would probably enjoy a lot of the old 70s and 80s Kamen Rider shows, but just from this video alone, the 2000s seem to be what, might tickle my fancy a bit more. Such as this guy. Oh my god.
Going into 2009, no rider...
That guy might be my favorite. He just blew up the building. You're the good guy, right?
Going into 2009, no Rider fan knew just how huge it would end up being, with several awesome projects to keep the
I've seen this guy a lot.
fan base happy. One of which was Kamen Rider G, a TV special meant to celebrate the 50th anniversary of TV Asahi, as well as promote Kamen Rider Decade. This special followed Goro, a sommelier who henshins into Kamen Rider G.
I was gonna say, it looked like he had wine with him.
Shade. Kamen Rider G is a wine-themed rider
who
literally uses a wine bottle and corkscrew to henshin, and
there it is.
Even has a sword with a corkscrew attached to it. This special is often over.
That is so stupid, but so awesome at the same time.
It brought the fandom something incredibly unique with a wine-themed rider, and was just one part of what would be a great year for Kamen Rider.
Nice.
Decade.
Okay. In 2009, we of course got...
Okay, I have heard of Kamen Rider Decade. I have heard this. I have seen this guy by just passively being a Sentai Tokusatsu fan,
Kamen
so
Rider Decade.
Must be a big deal.
Anniversary season celebrating 10 years of the Heisei era. This show had 2 catchphrases. One is connect everything by destroying everything, and Heisei Rider 10 years early. Although the show only had 31 episodes,
this goes hard.
It was stuffed full of fan service and was focused primarily on making longtime fans happy.
Nice. I do love the design. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Oh, and he can transform. So is this Gokaiger before Gokaiger?
Amongst the larger Riderverse, where our main protagonist named Tsukasa, also known as the Destroyer of Worlds, henshins into Kamen Rider Decade, and he travels to the universes of other Heisei era riders as they are converging into one. He can even henshin into other riders from the Heisei era.
That's cool.
Although Decade was a shorter season, the impact of the show was undeniable, as Decade would be featured in many crossover projects over the years.
That's probably where I've seen him. Oh my god.
2009 also brought a huge team-up movie.
All
Riders. Decade, All Riders vs. Daishocker. This project...
Dude, what a name. all writers versus this one guy.
As the official movie adaptation of Decade that gave the audience some additional context about Tsukasa and featured a team-up of every writer from the history of the franchise.
That is so cool.
In addition to all of the Henshin writers throughout history, this movie also featured the nostalgic appearances of Tetsuo Kurata as Kotaro Minami, or Kamen Rider Black, and Toshiki Kashu as Shoichi Sugami, or Kamen Rider Faiz, as well as tons of classic villains from the franchise.
That's awesome, man. I do love that.
When this movie released in theaters, it actually beat Harry Potter in the box office, earning over $2
And with that, get owned. Kamen Rider the movie, Harry Potter.
Yen, making it a huge success for Toei commercially and a memorable part of 2009.
I love that so much, dude. Like, I don't know. This video is really getting me to like see the appeal of Kamen Rider, because at first I was just like, I went into this thinking that Kamen Rider was just Super Sentai, but with 1 instead of 5, right? It was going to be the same exact show, but no. I can see why it might be a little more popular than Sentai, just with the unique suits, the unique premises, the unique worlds, and like everything about the show is like it seems a little more deep than Sentai can be. I don't know. It's very cool. So I mean, this is a long section for the what is this era. So I'll watch a little bit more before we jump to the final era of the video.
2,000,000,009.
Is this?
Also in 2009, Kamen Rider would have another chance at winning over Western fans with a new American adaptation titled Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Using footage from Kamen Rider Yuki, this show aired on the CW television network during its CW for Kids programming block, but it was ultimately...
Alright, like, I do need to watch this. I've only seen an episode or two for a video I did in the past, but I did like it, but the theme song is like, oh bro.
Canceled before the final 2 episodes aired on TV.
Real cinema. It's so stupid.
Producer Aki Komine convinced Toei to let him make a pilot for an American adaptation of Kamen Rider in the same style of Power Rangers, and ultimately Ryuki was chosen for the adaptation due to the large quantity of writers and the fact that Ryuki has a female writer. Despite the show's cancellation, Dragon Knight actually won a Daytime Emmy Award for stunt coordination, and it's remembered mostly positively by the community.
I do have to check it out. Huh?
There was also a Kamen Rider game released in 2009 that would lead to quite a few sequels and spin-offs.
Alright, I'll skip the game section. I'll let you guys watch that part. Let's get to another series. Here you go. We'll do this one right here. This shot, the jazz, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 already. I don't care what
releasing in
happens.
2009, a fresh take on the Kamen Rider formula, Double is a detective show featuring 2 people that share the same rider body, hence the name Double. The catchphrases for the show were, "We are the 2-in-1 Kamen Rider," and "This clinches it." Kamen Rider Double uses Gaia memory sticks to swap left and right side forms that also provide him with different color combinations. Shotaro is what I like to call a detective's detective. He considers himself hard-boiled, although he gets called half-boiled through a lot of the show.
I like that.
Something he's not a huge fan of. He's one stylish dude, and his...
It's also the 2000s, like 2009, I think it was, so the fedora, unironically, was cool.
Her name Hidari means left, as he becomes the left side of Double's body. He constantly struggles to live up to his dead mentor's legacy, whose daughter Akiko becomes his landlady, and she has the personality of a young child.
Cyclone!
Then we have Philip. He's the right side, and he searches for useful information and does a lot of research involving key words to solve cases. He's definitely not what he seems, and his story has an excellent twist. Kamen Rider Double featured some excellent lead protagonists that are very easy to root for. This show also features Ryu, also known as Axel, who's a cool rider that's based around speed, and he eventually falls in love with Akiko. We also have Museum, one of the most memorable and interesting evil organizations in the history of Toku.
Museum.
This show has several loving nods to the creator of Kamen Rider, Shotaro Ishinomori, including Shotaro Hidari having the same name, the green and black color scheme reminiscent of the Showa era, and Kamen Rider Skull, a reference to the Skullman manga that Ishinomori created so many years prior.
Very cool, very scary.
This was the first Kamen Rider series to use the term Kamen Rider in English letters on the logo and in marketing, because before this it was always Masked Rider. Double will always be remembered as a cool, fresh, and well-written entry into the franchise.
I do like it. I do love the, I always, like, whenever they pay tribute to the OG suits in a unique way like this, the green, black, the bug, the skull, it is awesome. What the hell did I... Nice.
2010.
All right. So I will leave it for that. Just I got a nice taste of the 2000s Kamen Rider. So let's jump to right here. Let's jump to the 2019's eras to finish off the video.
2019 brought with it the Reiwa era and Kamen Rider 01.
Reiwa era.
This show follows Aruto Hiden, who is a comedian that inherits a company called Hiden Intelligence from his grandfather. Hiden Intelligence makes human gears, which are AI-powered robots that resemble humans. Eventually,
oh my god.
Aruto encounters MetsubouJinrai.net, who are rogue...
Oh, dude, I was gonna say, like, Super Sentai and seemingly Kamen Rider, like, once the 2020s hit, I don't know what they did, but, like, the special effects can go off the charts. It's like, it is so visually, like, delicious. It's like, I watched some of King Oger, and, like, just seeing what they were doing, it is genuinely impressive for
and they intend
episodic
to bring
children's
about the extinction
TV.
of humans by hacking and corrupting other human gears.
私は技術顧問の刃優愛、そして捜査官の
不破勇だ。
This show features Yaiba and Fua from the organization AIMS, also known as Kamen Riders Valkyrie and Vulcan, and their goals aren't always the same as Aruto's, or even each other's, leading to a really interesting story with explosive
Dude, like,
conflict.
it is insane. Like, every second of these shows, it's just of this Reiwa era, I already forgot, but it's just visual eye candy every second.
This show asks if AI is a good or bad thing.
Uh-oh.
A question that's increasingly more relevant in today's world.
Yep.
And we would come to discover that there isn't necessarily a clear black and white answer to this.
Oh, dude, these suits
01
look
featured
so
a collection
cool.
of amazingly detailed and dynamic-looking suit designs, as well as action that I consider very anime-like in general. This is a season that's a treat for the eyes.
I love it.
Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the production of this series was cut short toward the end, resulting in a rushed final act of 01 and a change in tone for the next franchise entry.
Huh.
In 2020, after the pandemic, with 01's production being cut short and most people staying at home, it was decided that the next Kamen Rider season would have a warmer and more lighthearted tone. This resulted...
That makes sense, because I know Super Sentai did the same thing with, I don't think it was Dawn Brothers. It was one where there were, like, 4 Megazords as, like, the range. I don't know, but it seemed like they were trying to just make people feel happy. No, you know, in 2020 times, it's probably best to not make it about, like, my family is dead and I must, like, you know what I mean?
2020's Kamen Rider Saber, a fun and whimsical take on the Kamen Rider formula that features a more lighthearted tone and even an outro dance number, which was
makes
the first
sense
of the franchise. Our main protagonist is a novelist named Toma, who was
That
quite
suit
possibly
is
the most
awesome
stylish
as
rider
well.
since Shotaro Hidari of Kamen Rider Double. 2020 was a year where the fans needed some lighthearted fun in their life,
There
and
you
Saber
go.
delivered on that.
It does look very cute and charming.
これが仮面ライダーの
Oh, it's another game.
本当の力。
In 2020, we were also treated to a brand new Kamen Rider game for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo.
Nice. All right, we'll skip past the games again. No, I have nothing against it, but I would like to just
In 2020.
learn about the show again. Okay, we're back to this. Oh, I know this one.
Going into early 2021, we got Saber and Zenkaiger Superhero Senki, a crossover movie project between Saber and Zenkaiger to celebrate Kamen Rider's 50th anniversary and
50
Super Sentai's
years.
45th anniversary.
That is
The
insane.
catchphrase for this movie is straightforward heroes half of the century.
Oh, dude, that is such a good visual.
During the events of the movie, riders end up in the Zenkai world, and the Zenkaigers, other than Juran, end up in the Saber world, and eventually they team up together as you would expect. This movie served as an excellent anniversary celebration for fans of both franchises.
Dude. I love that. What?
Also in 2021, we got Kamen Rider Revice. Serving as the 50th anniversary project of the franchise, Revice is a story about Ikki and his inner demon, Vice, who are tandem riders.
It's like the more the years go on, the more insane they just make the suit designs, the premise, everything just becomes more turned up to 11.
Runs a bathhouse together, and his siblings also become riders as they use V-stamps to hench
Rider
and
knee?
fight against the Deadmans.
This is awesome.
Revice brought a new style and vibe into the franchise, as well as some unique color choices for the riders.
Yeah, dude, like,
and the unique aspects of the show make it memorable.
It's all like, it's very like anime come to life. Like whenever there's like a live action anime announcement, it needs to look like this.
Within the history of Kamen Rider.
Or else you're gonna fail.
Fight!
Okay, I have seen this one as well. I love this design. I don't know. It looks like it's supposed to be based off of the, oh god, you know, Okami, the dog, the fox thing.
2022,
if I'm not mistaken,
an absolute
Geats.
banger of a Kamen Rider season in Kamen Rider Geats.
And it's beloved.
This series focuses on a battle royale
look
with
at that.
supporters and organizers from the future called the Desire Grand Prix. The winner of this battle royale will have their deepest desire granted to them, so the stakes are really high and the conflict is really interesting. I
love that suit.
Is Ace Yukio, who is the definition of being cool. We also have the famous social media star Neon, also known as Nago, who has a really great story arc, and she's very easy to root for. And then we have Keiwa, a happy-go-lucky character.
So I gotta write this one down because this one sounds really cool too, and I just love the suit. That's basically how I'm going about diving into my own watches of Kamen Rider. What premise sounds cool, and what suits do I just love? And Geats
through an intense story arc that
turns
him into a vengeful force of nature. This entry into the Kamen Rider franchise featured a great story, a great cast, and superb action scenes. Geats was so successful that it even received a Blu-ray release in America.
Look at that, dude! That's such a cool suit.
2022 also gave us the reimagining of the legendary Kamen
Oh my
Rider
god,
Black
that thing was
story
horrifying.
with Black Sun on Prime Video. A much more violent and politically charged take on the classic series that took its own liberties with the source material. This series celebrates...
See, I've heard that there are some movies like that. I heard that there was an Ultraman movie that was like really bloody and violent, or maybe it was this Kamen Rider. That's just... It's just a dark take for a one-off or something.
Kamen Rider Black, serving as an example of just how iconic and legendary that series was. And did I mention it's really bloody? There's a lot from this show that I can't even show you on YouTube.
Oh my god. Okay, I feel like I really have to check that one out just for curiosity's sake.
2022 also gave us the direct anime sequel to Kamen Rider Double in Futo Pi. This series follows Shotaro and Philip as they solve crimes and do Kamen Rider things in a post-museum world. Double is extremely popular, and the success of Futo Pi raises hopes that maybe someday the fandom will be treated to anime adaptations of more Kamen Rider series. And this show is even getting a film release this coming November.
Oh my goodness. Kamen Rider is definitely more loved. What is happening? This is insane.
In 2022, we also got the O's 10th anniversary movie, the 10th Core Medal of Fate, in which Eiji's story would come to an end, and many fans were
Alright, you know, I have been overloaded with Kamen Rider. I don't want to watch I don't want to watch the whole video and just like, you know. This video has been a great resource for me, for someone who has know nothing about Kamen Rider and is trying to learn. So I recommend you guys check out the video here, The Complete History of Kamen Rider, Acrimony Toku. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but they have a lot of great videos going over not just Kamen Rider, but Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Ultraman, just everything here. So shout outs to them. Great video. I have definitely been taking mental notes of what seasons I would like to dive into first. If I ever make videos on this, I will make videos on Kamen Rider, don't worry. But I won't be going in order like in Power Rangers. I'm going to kind of just be cherry picking my favorite seasons, and I've made a mental note. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks again, and let me know your favorite Kamen Rider down below.